Okay, our next presentation, it says it's from Sean Foster. Actually, we have a replacement for Sean because I think he's speaking in the soapbox. So we have another member of the party, Kyle Atkinson, and Kyle's going to talk, I guess following on from what Steph was saying with the wasp explosion due to the giant willow aphid. So Sean and Kyle are working on new methods for combating wasps. So Kyle, come and tell us about it.
Okay, hi everybody. Thank you for coming along today, taking the time to listen to my presentation. My name is Kyle Atkinson. Together with my business partner Sean Foster, we run a newly formed company called BIQ Solutions. I'm not standing here today claiming to be academically qualified. I may not use the right terminology all the time. However, I have been around animals all my life. I have gained many years' experience working with animals in general, and more specifically, animal actors in the film and television industry. I have a deep understanding of how to use instinctual behaviours to achieve certain behavioural outcomes. My talk today will cover the topic of why thermal inefficiencies caused by design and the design itself contribute to the deactivation of the natural defence mechanisms of our modern day hives. In short, bees are not able to fully defend their hives against intruders. I will show you our findings, some theory, and some visual evidence of what can be achieved by design, and demonstrate by redesign we can offer a reactivation of a strong and more natural defence system. Please bear with me as I take you through our journey so far. So here we have a picture borrowed from a study by Seeley's and Moores in 1976. Their findings showed that the majority of natural hives they studied chose this type of situation. One aspect that needs to be noted is that by design, this situation will be far more thermally efficient than our modern day hives, simply by having much thicker walls. Take note of the entrance, its shape, its length. This will be relevant as we move on. And this is a picture of a version of a modern day beehive we have given our bees as an answer to the necessities of commercial beekeeping. As you can see, the box is thermally inefficient, has walls of around 20 millimetres thick. Also notice the very thin line of defence at the door. I will now demonstrate in my next slides the consequences of this. This slide runs through a scenario we experience in New Zealand with wasps. It shows why the entrance of the current hive design is not efficient. In this situation, we're looking at a normal beehive at temperatures lower than 14 degrees Celsius. This is a normal situation in a winter hive in Auckland, New Zealand, around July, our winter. We have days where it may not go above 14 degrees Celsius. As you can see, the bees are stuck in their cluster and unable to leave their cluster to defend the hive. This is one of the problems with the modern day hive design. Bees are stuck in their cluster around 200 millimetres from the entrance and likely to be on the warmer side of their box depending on the location of the hive and the amount of sun it receives during the day. Wasps can keep flying at temperatures below 10 degrees Celsius and allegedly lower. You will see them flying and robbing earlier in the morning and later at night than your bees. They have a big window of opportunity where the bees can't do anything and the entrance is completely unguarded. Wasps can come and go as they please, even if the entrance is reduced down to its minimum. And more importantly, they leave the hive and return with reinforcements. Putting a wasp guard contraption on the entrance or reducing the entrance size can become problematic. It is harder for the bees to push air through to extract humidity efficiently. What can be done? to bring the entrance of the hive. What we have done is to bring the entrance of the hive to the cluster. Also, by being able to pivot the tunnel, the entrance can be located under the winter cluster position. So to recap, by bringing the entry to the winter cluster position, we now have enabled the bees to be on the door 24/7, no matter what the temperature. Therefore, ensuring intruders will have to engage with the bees, and the bees will have to engage with the intruders. The bees are never off the door. So this picture represents a basic normal healthy hive. There's a cluster, queen, workers doing their normal work. This would be a hive at about 14 degrees Celsius and above. They're up and about and able to move around. Their muscles are working properly and so on. However, even with temperatures above 14 degrees Celsius throughout most of the day, the problem of a weak line of defence remains. It is far too easy for intruders such as wasps or robbing bees to break through. Intruders only have to break through the detection defence zone at the door. After that, they are free to slink off into the outer areas of the hive and avoid further detection. The guard bees won't follow them because they have to hold the line of defence. No alarm pheromones are activated in the intruder. She easily stays undetected. This makes for a successful robbing attempt, and with each successful robbing attempt, more robbing follows. So what do we do about this? So again, with the hive gate installed, what did we observe? What does the extended defence zone and the new entrance achieve? Well, we're forcing the intruder down a tunnel into a progressively worsening situation. In doing so, the intruder's adrenaline levels will be progressively rising too. The journey down the tunnel ends with a confrontation with the bees. This is still in the tunnel and not yet considered a successful entry into the hive at this stage. The intruder either leaves the tunnel without being successful, or if it does end up inside the hive, the process will ensure a very strong, intense and immediate response from any of the bees in the hive, not just the so-called guard bees. This ensures that the flight-fight pheromones release is continuously reinforced and the intruder cannot achieve a settled state. This is critical in the process of what you might call pheromone tagging, essentially like putting a flashing light on the intruder's head. This strong intensity is key to ensuring a strong release of pheromones, thus ensuring a strong response from the bees. The result of this is that now the bees will sense alarm pheromones and will interact with the intruders from several centimetres away and with great vigour. The level of pheromone released by the intruders is high because the initiation process by the bees is so intense. You will see this intensity in the following video, even though this is set in a winter situation. Now, I'll just explain the video slightly because this was one of my test to fails, many of hundreds that I've done with this product. A test to fail is basically me putting the bees in the worst situation possible and as many as possible situations and testing the product. There is always limitations to everything, and there's far too many sequences which can contribute to a hive loss. Now, key to the wasp not entering the hive or dying in the hive is ensuring that the alarm pheromones are kept at a very high level. Non-stop continuous reinforcement and continuously under attack by the bees. The intruder dies from exhaustion and allegedly from stings too. An intruder cannot sustain these high levels of stress for a long period of time. Now, there's a wasp there. These are live wasps. The green are live, the red are dead. Now we've missed a few. You can see one somewhere there. Anyway, so as you can see, that's a red one being extracted. The bees have no issues with extracting from here through the system. This bee here, this wasp here, you can see the size of them. Now, just take note of the action of the bees around these wasps. They literally cannot go anywhere without being seen now. This is not normal behaviour in a normal hive. In a normal hive, they slink in, they settle down, and they go about their business. You'll see them eating honey right next to your bees, and they won't interact. In this situation, they're forced into the pheromone release. If they do get inside the hive, they are marked, and they will not be let off. This process takes about 3 to 4 hours. The red dots you're watching would have entered the hive about 3 hours prior to that. As you can see in the tunnel, the green one, it decided to, you can notice the slinking, they walk the sides, they try and avoid, it's their modus apparatus. But as you can see inside the hive, once they get in, if they get in, they never leave the floor. They never actually go looking for honey. And they spend their whole time being chased by bees and eventually die from exhaustion. Okay, this brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm here for the whole conference. Please do come and see me. Thank you.
The product itself, how
Yes.
does it fit onto the hive and that sort of thing? How easily is it removed or put on the hive?
Come and see me at my stand, because it looks like a very simple product, but there's a heck of a lot of cause and effect and so on. What we've done is a lot of engineering to make sure that this one product will fit in the multiple bases that we come across. We have a couple of adapters to enable fitting to the old hive doctor bases, core flute nukes and your wooden nucleus colonies. All surfaces have been sandblasted, so the bees spend no time wasting energy and smashing wings. They climb the surfaces, no problem whatsoever. But back to your question, please come and see me and I can show you many different ways of dealing with it. Is that you happy with that? Cool.
Kyle, that example was for wasps, so what about robbing bees?
Well, I'm happy to say that I knew this would happen. What I'm targeting here are pests that use aversion as their modus apparatus. So you can take small hive beetle, robbing bees, and wasps. The reason I tested it on wasps, because we've got a lot of them, but they're also what I'd consider the apex predator within those three. All of them use aversion as their first line of success. Bees obviously are only flying when your bees are flying, so your guard bees will do a reasonably good job of it. But wasps are another thing altogether. As you know, they have an arsenal well above any bee, and to see that sort of thing happening in your hives is statistically nice. It's amazing how powerful this is. It will deal with the influx of return wasps and bees, and once they deal with that influx, they will deal with everything that comes in, and that is very much dribs and drabs. Now, I just want you to think about the ramifications of stopping robber bees. Less pathogen influx, less mites. You do the numbers on a robber bee returning, say, 20 times a day. Let's say it has 1 mite per visit. If that visit is only once, well, you think about it, it's quite phenomenal, really. So I'm stoked to be showing you this. I'm stoked to have produced it and got it to market. But I'm really happy about what it's going to do for you guys. This thing works instantly. The test hive that you saw there, I will explain that to you if you want to come and talk to me. It was a test hive. It wasn't the best situation, but we got a 95% drop-off in wasp attack instantly. And the wasp that you were seeing in there was from 67 wasps per hour entering that hive down to what you saw. And you're talking about 3 to 4 wasps in the morning, maybe 6 in the afternoon. That went on for about 6 days. This video goes continuously for a month and a half. It got rather boring after 6 days because those tough ones that decided to keep going, well, they were dead, and everything else that came in either didn't finish going in or was dealt with in the hive. So I'm quite pleased to say that the apex predator is no problem. Robbing bees are easier again, and for the first time ever, as far as I know, we have an answer. I'd just like to say I want to see the pathogen results over the next 5 years. If we have good coverage on this, we could see some results downward. So keep your eyes open. We'll see. Thank you.